There. Purdue is averaging 82.2 points going into this game. Michigan State held it to 65, as I mentioned before. Purdue over its past 5, and oh, by the way, we talk about the defense, understandably. Teams have been getting a little hip to what they're doing. Purdue is averaging 67.8 in its past 5. Prior to that, it was up well above 85. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not bailing on the Purdue train. Not happening. Pun intended. Not happening yet. Picked them in the preseason, win the national championship. I'll stick with that until we at least get to the bracket. When we have a bracket, have the right to change my mind, but I'll still stick with them. Still number 1 rated in points per possession. My other question to you, I'll drop this here now. I was going to wait till the end, but given what we said about Arizona, and we got 2 more to get to, which team do you think who lost on Saturday among the top 6, or again, throw in Texas Tech if you want to, the ranked team in the top 10 that lost on Saturday, which one do you think is most likely for the loss to start something where the next few weeks they're kind of just a bit jagged and we can look back and say, remember that crazy Saturday? That's kind of where it started with this team. Like, they don't get to the Sweet 16. They might take another loss or 2. They don't win their conference tournament. Which of the ones that lost do you think that's most likely for? And which of the teams that lost do you think it will mean nothing in so much that maybe they don't even lose again and they win the national title? Which ones would you align with those 2?
Well, I think it would be schedule related, right?
To a certain extent, yes.
Yeah, I would say the one that I'm not worried about at all is Gonzaga. Like, I just, I think they're legit. They played in 2 of the past 4 national championship games, and their computer numbers are significantly stronger than everybody else's. I think Gonzaga will win 2 games in the WCC tournament and then be in New Orleans with us. Kentucky, I think they'll be fine because the schedule is, it's home against Ole Miss and at Florida. I think they'll recover fine. Arizona at USC is tough, but then home against Stanford, home against Cal, I think they'll be fine. Auburn has a favorable schedule at Mississippi State, at home against South Carolina. I guess I'm not worried about that. And so who am I missing here? Kansas and Purdue.
Yeah.
Yeah, Purdue's the one. At Wisconsin's next.
Mm-hmm.
And then at home against Indiana. That could be the one that I'm just worried about Purdue's, like we talked about it a million times. There's nothing new to say. They don't guard. And they found themselves in a late game situation where they needed to stop. And it was like the simplest basketball stuff you've ever seen. What did Michigan State do? Put Trevion Williams in a ball screen. Now he's stuck trying to guard Tyson Walker in space. He's so uncomfortable, he just backs off. And so now you've just given a wide open 3-pointer to a 57% three-point shooter.
No way.
He's shooting 57% from 3. Now he only takes 2 a game, but he is shooting 57% from 3.
That is a fascinating dynamic.
So, like, what? Okay,
right.
All right, we're in a tie game with Purdue late. What are we going to do? Well, let's put Trevion Williams on a ball screen and then get a wide open 3 for a 57% three-point shooter, and then let's go. And then let's call it. Let's get out of here. We got the rest of our games over by 1 in the 1 Central. Let's have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, Max Christie shooting twice as many threes, 31.4%. Interesting.
Perhaps that should be addressed.
I assume it has been, but that's an intriguing dynamic there. My real quick on I'll say Kentucky. I think it wouldn't surprise me if Kentucky lost, and we'll get to that. We can lead into this game if you want. Kentucky loses on Saturday. Yes, it's in a very good league, but I can see Kentucky now just running the table. Like, I think there's a decent chance that one of these ranked teams that lost on Saturday won't lose again, and then we have an eventual national champion. This was the last loss they'll take this season. I could see that happening. I think there's a lot of potential there. Mine would be Auburn, and it's a little bit of a cop-out because, again, they've been 3-3 in their past 6, so, like, the slide didn't really just start Saturday. But I would say, because I still think that Purdue's offense, when it gets out of the Big Ten, I still think there's really good potential. They have, with everything they have there, they still have a shot. And one last comment on that game before we go wherever we're going next. I tweeted about this. Listen, it's not just Zach Edey. In fact, the Illinois fans were quick to speak on this on Kofi as well, and I have seen some of it, but these Big Ten officials need to have a little bit of a get together on how they are going to blow the whistle or not against this guy on both ends of the floor. There was a lot of bad officiating with Zach Edey, and I just don't like the way that the game flow gets broken up like that. And it's a modern day Shaq. Purdue would have lost the game probably regardless of what was going on with Edey, and he doesn't play for 25, 27 minutes a game. But it's going to suck if Purdue's in a really good game and then suddenly we look up and Edey's on the bench with 4 fouls and 2 of them are complete crap, or he's getting absolutely annihilated down there and they're not calling the fouls because the dude's 7'4". So just something to keep an eye on as we go into March. I think, for all the big, now Kofi's another humongous human being. I would think that the director of officiating, Rick Boyages, is going to address that because I think it needs to. It was kind of glaring on Saturday.
The problem for Purdue is that, yes, they are awesome offensively, literally the best offensive team in the country, but they have to be awesome offensively to be good teams. An off night gets them caught. When they're off offensively, they're in for it. And can you be awesome offensively every game in an NCAA tournament? Maybe, but doesn't sound like a great strategy. So what happened on Saturday? They're 1 of 9 from 3. They turned it over 17 times. Well, now they can't guard well enough to stay in that game. I mean, let me rephrase. They stayed in the game, but they can't guard. Let me rephrase. They could have won the game, right? I mean, they make one more shot, they win the game.
Sure.
All right, I got it. But like the reason they find themselves in that situation against a team that had lost, 5 of 6 is because they do not guard well enough to overcome going 1 of 9 from 3 and turning it over 17 times. And by the way, these aren't even like things I'm saying that Matt Painter has said this exact thing before after a loss this season. Like if we turn the ball over and don't make shots, we're going to have a hard time because he knows that, Matt's a smart guy. He knows all these numbers. He knows what he's working with. They at this point in the season, expecting them to get dramatically better would be foolish, but they've got to get somewhat better, or else, getting to that first Final Four, since 1980 is going to be, it's going to be difficult.